Hello, Marines. My name is Harold Jones. I'm currently a student at Columbia University, and I previously worked with Captain Jones at Bravo Fast Company. I'm making this video for you so that you guys can get some perspective on the resources and the strategies that I used while I was still in the Marine Corps in order to prepare myself for EAS and then ultimately prepare myself to attend college once I EAS'd. All right, so we'll break this whole process down into a step-by-step process. The first thing you're going to do is decide on your major. So you should decide on your major based on your career goals and your personal interests. So while I was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, I developed a personal interest for the intelligence community, and now I'm studying political science because one day I want to work for the CIA. So the second thing to do is to research your target schools. You want to pick 5 schools. Your first 2 schools should be your reach schools, and your last 2 schools should be your safety schools. So my reach schools were Georgetown University and Columbia University. My third pick, which is like the middle of the road school I'd be okay with going to, was George Washington University. And then my 2 safety schools were Rutgers University and the University of Colorado at Boulder. So your 2 safety schools should be schools you can definitely get into, and then your reach schools should be schools that you're obviously going to like strive to get into, but you're not really sure. You could always transfer to your reach school later on. Remember that. All right. So regarding your research, research the admissions requirements, the location, the prestige of the school, and remember that you're a demographic. That's very important. More on that later. When you're also deciding on which school to go to, look into the financial options. So that's going to be step number 3. Evaluate your financial options. If you guys are going to be claiming disability and you're over 50%, then you can qualify for vocational rehab. So look that up. That's another educational program you can use alongside the GI Bill to help you pay for school. You'll obviously have the GI Bill, and there's also work-study programs that are available at many schools. Essentially, you'll become like a school employee. You'll answer phones or fold towels at the gym or just like do some benign job, and they'll also let you work and do homework while you're working. So now that you've evaluated the list of schools that you're interested in, it's time to rebuild your academic credibility. And this is where all the real work starts. I was at a high school for 6 years when I finally went back to school in 2017. So rebuilding my academic credibility was pretty difficult, but it's not impossible. I graduated high school with a very, very terrible GPA. And those of you that graduated with a good GPA or a higher GPA than mine are definitely in a much better situation, and you won't have to start completely from the bottom. The good news, though, if you came from the bottom like me, is that most schools will completely overlook your high school transcripts if you just show a lot of improvement in recent college achievement at recent college classes that you've taken. So what I did personally was I took classes online at American Military University. Columbia didn't ultimately accept any of these credits, but I got all A's, and so they saw that as a big improvement along with my SAT scores, and I was accepted to the university. So knowing that your high school performance doesn't really matter. What does matter is your SAT and your ACT scores. So you may have old scores, like you got a great score a couple of years ago. Look into the school specifically. Some schools will take old scores. Others will take really old scores. They'll have a cutoff date. There's lots of bureaucratic processes regarding who can take what score. So I suggest just retaking the SAT entirely. It's easier for yourself, and it also shows a certain level of commitment and maturity on your part that a lot of the admissions officers will be very fond of. All right, the next portion is what I would consider the most important, and that's portraying personal professionalism at all times. We'll talk a little bit about networking, but just sort of to crack the surface, networking is the most important thing, and portraying yourself as a professional is the best way to get people to want to help you. And you're going to need a lot of help. You can't do this alone, and other students don't do it alone either. Your Marine habits are already, you should already be very professional from being in the Marine Corps, especially working, alongside Captain Jones. And all of these habits will shine through in your interviews, which you should always seek to get. If you are applying for a college, always ask, do I have an opportunity to get an interview? Because if you're a professional and you can sit in front of someone, they'll definitely want to take you into their school if everything else adds up. It's just like the icing on the cake. All right, so now we're going to talk about putting this plan into action. And the first thing you're going to have to do is sign up for classes. I signed up for classes online at American Military University. But if you guys have a local community college near you, that's even better. And what's even better than that is applying online remotely to a state school and then just taking classes there. Those will probably transfer to like other schools, whereas online university credits usually don't. But either way, the point is get great grades here so that you can demonstrate recent academic achievement. The next thing to do is to take the SAT or the ACT. Use Khan Academy online, which I will speak more about in the memo that is going to get sent out to you guys, and then hire a tutor to perfect the gaps in your SAT performance. I personally was pretty bad at math, so I called the College of William and Mary, which is like a college near my base in Yorktown, Virginia. And I said, hey, I'm a Marine. I'm trying to go to school really soon after I get out of the Marine Corps, and I want to do well in the SAT so I can get into a great school. Could I please have like a list of your tutors? I was very professional, like I said. Always portray yourself as a professional and people want to help you. And 10 minutes later, I had a list of every tutor at the school for mathematics, and I ended up hiring an awesome student for $10 an hour to tutor me personally one-on-one like 3 times a week, and I got a great SAT score because of it. All right, the next thing to do after that is to prepare your story. And in order to prepare your story, you have to ask yourself 4 questions. The first question is who I am and what do I want to do? The second question is how did I improve my previous community? The third question is what will I bring to the table of my new community? And the fourth question is how can I portray myself as a professional that deserves to be part of this community? So after you've answered those questions, you can begin crafting your story. Your personal story is going to be the most important aspect of your application. You're going to have to recount that story many times to all the people that you ultimately want to help you gain acceptance into your school. And then you're going to have to write that story as like an admissions essay for most of your target schools. So the best way to get that story out there and start building your network is to use many of the veterans resources that we have at our disposal. The first one you should get started checking out is the Leadership Scholar Program, which is a Marine Corps ran program out of Quantico, Virginia. The woman who runs the program is a former admissions officer, and her name is Debbie Marcandra. She personally helped me get an interview at Columbia University where I was able to recount my story and get a great mark on my application. The next program you should check out is the Warrior Scholar Project. It's like a boot camp, academic boot camp that is held at a number of schools across the United States. They have 1-week courses which focus on humanities and 2-week courses that focus on humanities and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So like physics, for example, was a course that I took at MIT, and then I took a humanities course at Harvard as part of the Warrior Scholar Project. You can apply for that online. It's totally free. They cover everything except for transportation. Definitely check that out. It looks great on like any college resume. The next one to check out is Service to School, and this is a pretty remote, I guess, like mostly remote, so like email, telephone, mentorship program that you guys can use in order to kind of perfect aspects of your application. There's no real like set format. It's really just like, hey, this is what I need help with. Can you help me? And then they do. So definitely use that program to sort of like fill in the gaps of the weak areas of your application. The next one is the Posse program. The Posse program is absolutely awesome, but it's highly competitive. It's definitely worth your time because if you're accepted into the Posse program at the specific school that you applied for, then you automatically get accepted into the school. So the Posse program takes on a more holistic applications process, so you can really play up your strengths in the Posse program versus not being able to necessarily do that if you just had applied for the school by yourself. I'm going to cover all of these resources in the memo that's going to get sent out to you guys with links, so check out the links immediately to get more information. The next resource you guys should be using is Khan Academy. That's not like a veteran-specific resource. It's just a great online learning tool where you can study for subject tests for the SAT, ACT in general, or just like any other kind of coursework you might want to polish up on. Definitely check that out as well. And then the next place to check out is the Base Education Center. They can help you with CLEP or DANTES tests, which are tests that you can specifically take in order to test out of college classes. A lot of students clep out, quote unquote, of like Spanish, French, other language courses. So check that out. It could save you guys a ton of time. All right, so I'm going to wrap up this video to keep it short for you guys. You can find a lot more information in the document that's going to be distributed to you guys alongside the video. Just remember the steps. Start by identifying what you want to study, and then choose your 5 schools. Work towards recreating your academic credibility, and then use the various veterans resources that we have at your disposal to fill in any gaps in your applications, and then finally apply to your schools. And don't be concerned if like you can't start this now, if you have to like wait until you EAS, maybe you have like a deployment coming up. But just try to like tackle this little by little. It's a lengthy process. It took me, about like 9 months in order to get all of this together and then finally get accepted into school. So start now. All right. Good luck, Marines.